image of having Mr. King associated with the Freedom Convoy movement?
I guess there would have been some concerns at times, I guess. The bad media posts and releases on a regular basis definitely caused some concern.
And can you just explain what you mean by, did you say the
media?
Yeah, and what was concerning you about the media's coverage?
They attacked him on a regular basis, I believe.
Did you think those attacks were fair?
I didn't know. Like I said, I didn't know Pat previous to the convoy. I met him on the 13th for the first time, and things were so busy after that, it was hard to keep your head around all the different moving parts.
Other than being busy, is there any reason you didn't do more to look into the people who were associated with your convoy?
My primary goal was to get those trucks to Ottawa safely. So phone conversations and that were hard to have. Everything that we did was logistics. It was myself on the mic, on the CB mic or the FM radio mic all day long, making sure the trucks were safe. I kind of left that up to other people in the organization.
You say, media report says that you texted to Ms. Leach, I know he's had issues, I've got skeletons in the closet too. Do you see that?
Yes.
Do you recall texting that to Ms. Leach?
Yes.
Okay. What were the skeletons in your closet?
Well, like I've said before, I've been an internet troll for many years.
At this point in time, was there anything in particular that concerned you about what you had done on the internet?
Nothing that was related to the convoy.
What about things that were unrelated to the convoy?
Yes.
What concerned you?
I used to post nasty, distasteful memes via share memes or just posting online in a negative way. Correct.
And so have you seen this email before?
I have not, no.
It's sent on Wednesday, February 16th at 1:23 p.m. to Chrystia Freeland, MP, and it reads, I declare war on all the Canadian government for lying about COVID-19. Chrystia Freeland will get a bullet to the head. Prepare to feel our wrath. Yours truly, the Canadian COVID government resistance. We will visit you at your home this Friday at 6 p.m. So you better be hidden and be placed into protection because we know where you live. And signed, Larry Jenkins. I assume you would reject this statement and any such action.
Unequivocally, yes.
Thank you. And the last question then is, were you aware, sir, that on February 16th, the same day, the OPP apprehended someone in Ottawa who was wearing body armor and carrying a large knife, along with other knives, a sword, and machetes that were seized out of his truck?
I was not aware of that, no.
Okay, I will take you to OPS. The last question then is, would you agree with me that when you start a fire and fan the flames, it can get out of control, and you had no control over those other factions who had come to this protest?
That's where I spent a lot of time on the ground. I spent a lot of time working with people that were with the original convoy from the West, and with people that were not with the West. If somebody had a concern, I said it on more than one occasion on my videos. If anybody has a problem, if anybody wants to yell at somebody, find my number and phone me and yell at me. I will gladly take it. The last thing I ever wanted was a letter like that. I haven't heard that story up until now.
Understood. And I believe, sir, that you'd also confirmed that you were not always successful in your efforts to convince the participants to agree with you or to follow you.
Agreed, yes.
Thank you. Those are my...
Tompkins, counsel for the City of Ottawa.
Please do.
I just have a few questions for you today. We saw earlier in this proceeding that you had texted with Kim Ayat, who is the General Manager of Emergency and Protective Services at the city.
Yeah, I'm not sure of his role, but yes.
I'm just going to put them on the screen to assist you in that regard. So if we could bring up document OTT I think it's 30057. And these are the text messages were produced by Mr. Ayat. So I believe Chris, protester, is you.
I'm assuming so, yes. It looks like, yeah.
Yeah, so if we could just scroll down to the third page. And I just want to talk to you a little bit about your role in moving the trucks and how far it got. So if we get to here, starting at this exchange, we're now February 15th, which I believe is the Tuesday at 8:30. And Kim is asking you how it's gone moving the trucks effectively, and in particular, how many big trucks you're able to move. So if we could keep scrolling, please. Just the large trucks and not the pickups or cars. And then I believe this is your response. If we keep scrolling. Yeah, can you confirm that you provided this information to Mr. Ayat, that it's accurate, and any elaboration that you see fit?
So to my recollection, we moved approximately 100 vehicles into the downtown core on that February 15th, 40 of which were tractors, semi-units, and apparently approximately 23 were moved up onto Wellington in one block.
Okay, now when you say 23, what happened to the rest of the 40?
They moved out of town. They would have went to exit. We called it exit 88, Armoire or Antrim.
Empire?
Antrim.
Yeah, Antrim truck
Antrim?
stop. Yep.
Antrim. Or there's two different ones, and I always got confused with which one it was. It was the one on the east side of town, anyway. So.
Okay, that was my next question was about the trucks leaving downtown. Now, after this, if we keep scrolling, it refers, I note, in passing to you tiring yourself out. So again, your weight loss. Sorry, if you could scroll up, Mr. Clerk, apologies. So then Kim writes to you about running into trouble with any trucks. And then if we can scroll down to your response. Thanks, keep scrolling. Yeah, so if you can just confirm that you wrote this to Mr. Ayat and then just provide a little more context for the commissioner.
Absolutely. So February 14th, we had a meeting at City Hall with Kim and Drummond and I believe Steve, if I'm not correct.
Steve Kanolakos?
I believe so, yes. We left that meeting excited, ready to go out. We did an agreement that we were going to move as many trucks as we could out of the residential area up onto Wellington. Myself and 3 other road captains that were close with me went out and started speaking with the drivers, trying to figure out who was ready to move. Who was ready to move first thing Monday morning, who we could count on, and where we could get them to move. So 7 o'clock in the morning rolled around Monday morning, February 15th, and we struggled with communication between police, city, and ourselves as to who allowed the move. So we were on at 7 a.m. It was roughly, I'm thinking about 12:30 after lunch before the first police car actually moved and we were allowed to move. So my understanding, we had 72 hours to get as many vehicles out of the downtown core as possible. Something broke down, it was out of my control. We got as many trucks as we could that day. And you remember it was cold, and at the end of the day, I was wore out. I was done. It was a lot of walking. It was a tremendous amount of walking. Something happened at the end of the day. There was a breakdown. I believe Chief Slowly resigned. Something happened where the deal was off the table, and we were done. So I did everything in our power. We had so many more places on Wellington. We could have put more trucks. We mapped everything out. We had guys that were ready to move. We ran at a time in the day on the Monday, and then planned to continue moving on the Tuesday. And like I said, something fell apart. We were done.
Okay, when you say something fell apart, you have no further evidence on that for the commissioner?
My communication was with Nicole with OPS, and she had explained to me that we'd had our chance. I don't remember how, my text messages are at the police station, that we had our chance and we didn't accomplish what we agreed to do, and the deal was off the table.
Okay.
That was different from what my understanding of what the day was. Where things fell apart, I still yet to understand.
Okay, those are all my questions.
Fair.
Yes.
And was that one of the things that you tried to work with police to minimize that risk?
I remember having conversations with some of the officers in regards to what we call a slip tank, which is a fixed 500-gallon tank in the back of a pickup truck with a hose and a pump. Was a lot safer and a lot less risk of fuel spilling compared to people walking around with 5-gallon jerry cans. That wasn't the proper way to do things. And I tried to have a conversation multiple times to get more slip tanks in to put fuel in those trucks compared to the safety hazards of the jerry cans.
Right. You hadn't brought slip tanks yourselves?
No, we didn't. No.
So there was, in terms of the organization, the fuel and how you were going to provide fuel for trucks running past, say, the first weekend was not a part of the plan that you had.
It
Is
was
that fair?
not. No, not at all.
Okay. And then a couple of things. You told the commissioner that you succeeded in moving the load, I think it was a load-safe truck that was on an angle at Rideau and Sussex.
Yeah.
Police had been unable to get that operator to cooperate. And even then, when you turned to the rest of the Rideau and Sussex operators, no luck at all.
I tried multiple times with Rideau and Sussex, and good guys, really good guys, and they had a point, and they were protesting, and yeah, we just had a difference. I did what I could, but.
Couple of other things, and finally, if I could, Mr. Barber, you told us, and I don't want to know what the legal advice was, but early on in this effort, is it right that you turned your minds to what lawful protest looked like and what unlawful protest would look like?
We were very fortunate that we had lawyers fly in, I believe it was the first week, and we had guidance there. We had somebody that we could have, would tell us what our rights were, because, being truck drivers, we're not all really good at litigating. So we had lawyers, we had people that could give us advice. There was a ton of advice there.
Happened. And the RCMP let you go through. They escorted us to the MacDonald Bridge. We wanted us to go to Portage, but we went through MacDonald. So you went on Maisonneuve up to MacDonald Cartier, and the RCMP took you south on MacDonald Cartier till close to Parliament. We have a video available. We're not going to listen to it because it's an hour long, but it shows that several vehicles and trailers went through the Bay Market, and on Rideau Street they turned left to Parliament. Is that the way they went? Well, listen, if I recall correctly, we stopped on Rideau. And that's the only thing I could change in what you said. We had to stop on Rideau because we had trucks against truck and we couldn't go any further. Do you recall where you stopped on Rideau? Well, I don't live in Ottawa, so I don't recall exactly. Was it close to a shopping center? Could you see the Parliament?
To denounce the sanitary measures, am I right? Am I mistaken? Answer, no. Denounce the sanitary measures? I'm trying to fight for freedom and truth. Question, you took part in protests associated with denouncing the sanitary measures in Quebec? Answer, yes.
Farfada is a group where members were recruited to ensure safety and security during some meetings. No, we don't recruit anybody. People come to us and they find what they can do for us. And you'll convene with me that in the past, at meetings, we have seen people who were wearing the vest or sweater with farfada to ensure safety. And there was a case in Quebec where people showed up against health measures, and several farfada members were there. You can tell me what you saw because I was there myself. Do you recognize this event? No, you haven't given me all the details. You're telling me what you read in the media. But the media reported that Farfada had some interaction there, and there were people wearing your name. What is it that you call interaction, first of all? I should understand that this is a contentious event for you. You're not in agreement with what was reported. No, because it didn't happen that way, or at the National Assembly. But you mentioned that you had interaction with someone who called you at the beginning of the convoy, who was mentioning safety as a goal. Yes, I already answered that. Yourself, on January 9th, asked Farfada to take care of the parking safety. Yes. And then on Facebook on January 31st, you said that the parking lot was insecure, and if it is, we'll have to call Farfada. What we say between ourselves is when you feel insecure, call Farfada. But this is what you did on January 31st? Yes, indeed. I talked before. Just a minute. In your testimony, you talked about the money that you were handing out to the truckers in Ottawa, and you mentioned the rules that were applicable, how much you should be getting and keeping and or giving away. Farfada members are not considered to be a welfare or
Les véhicules qu'il conduisait étaient situés à l'intersection de Rideau et Sussex. Est-ce que ça vous dit quelque chose?
Non. Mais écoutez, les Farfadais, on parle d'un mouvement qui est devenu beaucoup plus vaste à Gatineau et Ottawa. On ne connaît pas tout le monde. On vous parle de milliers de supporters. Il y a des milliers de Québécois, Ontariens et autres qui se sont identifiés au mouvement Farfadet. J'ai pas la gestion de tous les membres, ce qui s'est passé. Nous autres, on s'est vraiment concentrés à tenir notre quartier général, comme on l'a appelé, dans le stationnement Zibi, et d'aller prêter main forte, comme on pouvait, d'offrir un stationnement aux gens qui voulaient venir se stationner de façon sécuritaire, afin qu'ils puissent marcher jusqu'à sa colline parlementaire pour aller manifester. C'était un petit peu ça notre mandat. Mais je veux dire, s'il y en a qui se sont allés se stationner ailleurs, j'ai pas répertorié tout ça. Moi.
Alors, je vais juste vous montrer des documents qui vont peut-être rafraîchir votre mémoire. Alors, Monsieur le greffier, est-ce qu'on pourrait, s'il vous plaît, montrer OPP 823?
En attendant ça, j'ai manqué le nom du stationnement où vous étiez.
Zibi.
Zibi.
Z-I-B-I. Un stationnement appartenant à Zibi qui était géré par... que je ne réponds pas à ce que vous voulez entendre, mais comme je vous dis, je n'ai pas eu connaissance personnellement qu'il y a des membres des Farfadets qui bloquaient Rideau, Sussex. S'il y a des gens qui se sont identifiés à notre mouvement, comme plusieurs milliers dans le pays, ils ont fait ça de leur propre chef, je ne suis pas au courant.
Est-ce que vous avez parlé à la police à un certain moment donné à Ottawa? Alors, pas quand vous étiez au stationnement à Gatineau, à Zibi, à propos des emplacements des véhicules ou des camions que vous avez conduits à travers du pont McDonald-Cartier?
Non.
OK. Alors, vos engagements avec la police étaient seulement avec la police municipale à Gatineau?
Oui, sauf la journée où on a rentré les véhicules. Comme je vous dis, on est allé reconduire les véhicules jusqu'aussi loin qu'on pouvait. Après ça, chacun était laissé à lui-même. J'ai pas le contrôle sur la suite. Le restant de l'événement, oui, on a eu à négocier avec surtout la police municipale de Gatineau. J'ai pas eu vraiment de discussion autre avec les autres corps policiers, à part des salut, peace.
Merci. Et quand vous dites que vous avez parlé à la...
Back to the convoy late to get started. I had a gentleman by the name of Carl start my Sarnia, so I may have been a day late, which meant I would have gone there, parked, dropped my trailer, and then joined the convoy.
And so on January 27th, then when the convoy left Sarnia, you were not with the convoy at that point? You joined them at some point? On the
No,
way to
I was
London?
only a day behind.
So then on January 27th, you started in Sarnia, is that correct?
Absolutely, yeah.
Perfect. Those are my questions. Thank you.
First off, the original map. I believe the commission number is BRB 50217.
If it's helpful to council, is there a place where you'd like to start, or would like to just start?
There is a dialogue on it. You need to play it. Yeah.
The first one is not available to me. This was the other one that the printing came out a little blurry, so we didn't use it as much. We did put some notations on it, but this is...
Can you start it at the beginning? We missed some of it. It was sort of muted. Okay, thank you.
This is the secondary map that we had in Ottawa. The first one is not available to me. This was the other one that the printing came out a little blurry, so we didn't use it as much. We did put some notations on it. Peloso. So on January 28th, the Southwestern Ontario, GTA, and Niagara region arrived in Ottawa. We were led down the Ottawa River Parkway by the police. They told us to take this route even though it was a non-truck route, and the Carling exit onto the Ottawa Parkway was very difficult for trucks to make, bobtail and with trailers. The police had it barricaded and removed the barricades in front of me to allow us to go onto this jam. We arrived here and were brought over by the War Museum. The police had a blockade right here and wouldn't not allow trucks to go up onto Wellington. On January 29th, when the Western group came in, led by myself, Mike, as the second pilot car, and Chris Barber as the lead truck, came up onto the Ottawa Parkway. Police then moved their barricades, which were barrels, they were barrel barricades, and allowed Chris to bring his truck up on.
Folks, if you want to be kept up to date on what's happening at the Emergency Act Inquiry, including my live tweets and some clips and highlights that occurring at the Emergency Act Inquiry, by heading over to revolutionnews.ca/Emergency Act Commission. That's revolutionnews.ca/Emergency Act Commission. And of course, here, folks, while you're there, please head over to donorbox.org/Emergency Act Commission. That's donorbox.org/Emergency Act Commission. And of course, here, folks, if you could chip in a buck or two, that will be greatly appreciated, as it will help me cover my travel expenses, including my expenses on food, as bringing you these stories doesn't come for free. Thank you so much.